Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. I am Jim Hacking. This is episode number 218 of the Immigration Answer Show. This is take two. You know, back in the 80s, Billy Idol had a song called Dancing with Myself. I was here talking with myself for the last 10 minutes. I didn't realize I hadn't gone live. Probably not 10 minutes, just a few. But we're happy to be here with all of you. We're happy to be back on the Immigration Answers live show. We had a great show yesterday. Hope you caught it. If you didn't, that's okay. We also want to welcome our new subscribers. We had one of our videos sort of shot up the charts this week, and it resulted in around 873 new subscribers this week. And that's about 3 times as much as we usually get. So we thank Justin for helping me with our videos. I think people really like the new production value. They're enjoying the live show, and I'm glad to be here with all of you. So if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. That way, whenever we go live, you get word of it. And with me having screwed up and been talking to myself for so long, I am ready to talk to our first guest, and that is Samantha. Hi, Samantha.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Great.
So my husband had his interview on the 27th of June at the embassy in London. At which point they said he was approved and took his passport and said he'd receive it back in 5 to 10 days. Unfortunately, a couple days later, they said that it was refused and they issued us the DS
5535.
Yes, 5535. So kind of 2 questions. One, and I'm pretty sure the answer is no, but is there anything we can do about that process? And then 2, I mean, they've still got his passport. How long are they allowed to keep his passport? Because, I mean, he can't travel at the moment, obviously. He just feels kind of trapped.
So have you already gone ahead and submitted the 5535?
Yes, we did it the following day, got everything in super fast.
Anything unusual happen at the interview?
No, it didn't even take 10 minutes. He was in and out probably 15 minutes. They asked him a couple generic questions, and it was fine. We've been married since 2014. We have 2 kids. We've been living in the UK together, and only just sort of recently moved over at what we thought would be the end of this process. And yeah, my son's actually over there with him. They had a little lads holiday. Thought they'd be there for a couple weeks, and now we're coming up on 3 weeks, and they haven't touched any of our answers or anything. There's been nothing.
So when you say we moved here back to the States, did that include your husband? Like, did he move a bunch of stuff in anticipation of this interview?
We moved. So buying and selling in the UK is kind of a long process. So we did go ahead and sell our house. Me and the kids moved over. And then my husband's using his parents' house as a home base, and then has been traveling back and forth to visit.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry that this happened. That sucks. It seems like a no-brainer that someone who's been married for 8 years should be able to get their case approved. Obviously, with 2 kids, there's no question about the validity of the marriage. You've been living together.
Yeah.
So that seems silly. It also seems how dumb the State Department is. As far as how long they can hold the passport, he can always ask for it back. I might give it it's been what, 3 weeks now? 2 weeks? 2 weeks?
Yeah, so 2 weeks. We turned in the form on the Friday, July the 1st.
Yeah, I might give him till the end of the month, and then if he needs his passport, I'd ask for it back.
Okay. But there's nothing, it's just a waiting game. There's no kind of pressure that we can put on them, or
No, even for us with a lawyer, there's not much we can do to get them. I don't know why they did that, but you're sort of waiting. If it's a matter of months and months, then we could sue them, but hopefully you won't have to do that.
Okay. At what point do you hit that eligibility?
Well, when did USCIS approve the I-130?
January 7th.
And when was the last time your husband was in the United States?
So he left the 22nd of June. So he has an ESTA, and so he'd been traveling in and out on the ESTA. So.
Oh, and then with his passport, he can't do that with them having the passport.
Right. And obviously we're coming up to, my son needs to come back and start school, and
yeah. So I'll walk you through we had a similar question yesterday on the show. I'll walk you through a hypothetical. So not Samantha's husband. This is somebody we'll just call Joe, right?
Mhm.
So Joe has ESTA. Joe has an approved I-130. Joe's been waiting at the embassy for a really long time to come to the United States. They gave Joe a DS-5535, and it's now August, and Joe still doesn't have a visa.
Mhm.
Let's say Joe hops on the plane, brings his son back to start school in ESTA, on his ESTA, comes back with his son, who's a U.S. citizen, and let's say Joe enters the United States mid-August and sort of lives with his family for a while, and then says to himself, boy, I really don't want to, that stupid embassy, they're still dragging ass. I'm sick of waiting for them. What if I just filed for a green card right here in the United States? Because the I-130 has been approved. So if Joe applied for a green card, Joe could just do it all over here. The only problem is Joe wouldn't have work authorization for about 6 months. So that's the kicker there. So that's probably not very attractive.
Right.
But that is an option that's out there. Joe can't have immigrant intent when he comes on ESTA to bring his son. But if he decided while he was here, I'm sick of being separated and I want to just file for a green card and a work card, Joe could do that.
Okay. Good hypothetical.
Good hypothetical.
Mhm.
Thanks, Samantha. I hope it all works out.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
Bye. All right. Next up, Naidu. Hi, Naidu.
Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
How are you doing?
Yeah, doing decently well.
What's up?
Yeah, basically, I do have an issue with my H-1B. Basically, it got a denial because of fraud. Basically, let me explain my case little. I think it's a little bit complicated. So I joined with a company called A in 2014. In 2014, as part of like H-1B cap, my H-1B was filed, and I worked with the company for about like 1.5 years. And in 2015, the company said that they're merging the company with another company, B.
Okay.
And they initiated the H-1B transfer.
Yep.
And the guy had absconded. Basically, the company owner and everyone had absconded. And
the owner of B?
Owner of A. Basically, I think it's owner of A and B. It's one and the same, or like they're buddies. I don't know exactly.
So we don't like the owners of A and B is what you're telling me.
Yeah. Basically, like when they initiated the transfer, A had absconded basically, and they came up with a new staff altogether. And my H-1B transfer got denied. And my initial H-1, which was a cap exempt petition, that got revoked.
Cap exempt? Why was it cap exempt?
Basically, the lottery petition. That was my initial H-1B lottery petition.
So it was exempt because you'd already been through the lottery.
No. I'm not. It's not cap exempt petition, but it's my first H-1B petition. It went through a lottery and it got picked, and I had the H-1B, and there was an amendment basically.
Okay.
Amendment. So basically, what USCIS had done with this transfer, so they denied the transfer and they revoked the base petition.
The old H-1B.
Old H-1B. So when I knew that like there was something fishy going on, I tried for Cognizant company. Cognizant gave me an offer, and my transfer.
So Cognizant is now C.
Cognizant is C.
Mm-hmm.
So later on, like Cognizant used this H-1B amendment because they denied the base petition. The Cognizant, like immigration department, they asked like, hey, what documents do you have? I told I do have a revoked base petition and I do have an amendment. So they took both the documents and they initiated my H-1B transfer. So as part of the documentation, both the revoked petition was there and the amendment was there. But in I-129 application, they put the amendment. I have the documentation as of today. So they filed my H-1B transfer.
You mean they only listed the amendment? They didn't list the denial or the denial.
They didn't list the denial. I mean, they put the receipt. Basically, I-129, the petition you do have, right? All I-129 forms. So as part of documentation, the revoked documentation was there, but you do have a section where in the form, like you put I-129 number, right? So they put the amendment number. So basically, like it was fine. Like the H-1B got transferred, then I had got my I-140 approved, and 4 more extensions were approved. After 6.5 years, right now, my H-1B got denied. stating that like your initial H1B petition, which came through lottery, that was revoked. So that's the reason like you can't have any further extensions. So right now, Cognizant, we do have the denial notice. They are telling like we can't go for motion to reconsider. It is your previous employer. The only thing they are telling that all we can do is that we can give you the denial notice. I mean, you go and seek the legal immigration if there is something could be done.
Have you left the United States at all during all this?
Yeah. I mean, I have got like 3 US stampings, 3 visa stampings done at Indian consulate. Every time when I went, like I do had my visa stamping. I had like 3 visa stampings.
So the State Department has endorsed your visa 3 times. USCIS has renewed your H-1Bs 4 or 5 times.
They renewed 3 times, and H-1B transfer was done like initially. Yeah.
This is the kind of bullshit that I'm talking about that the Trump team brought in, where they look for fraud behind every corner. They're going back freaking 12 years to something they've approved repeatedly, and now they're bringing it up for the very first time at your. So did you apply for a green card that got denied, or another H-1B extension?
H-1B extension. The green card in 2016, Cognizant has, they had filed it, it got approved because, right now, this is my 9th year in H-1B, including that my time with the fraud company and Cognizant, it's total close to 9 years. And right now, I don't know whether will my I-140 get any impacted?
Has the I-140 been approved?
Yeah, it's approved like 5 years back.
When's your priority date? Is it EB2?
It's EB2. It's July 7th, 2016.
So how far away are you from it being current?
I would say like 1.5 years.
So we've had a lot of fun in our office suing them when they do dumb things on H-1B like this. I think if you filed a lawsuit in federal court and said this H-1B denial was wrong, I think there's a chance that they would reverse themselves. I don't know for sure, but it might be worth filing a lawsuit to see if they back down and they say we made a mistake. I mean, I'd want to see the denial notice. Okay, what was the date of the denial?
It is last Monday, sir. Last Monday or Tuesday. Yeah.
And where do you live?
I live in Houston.
Yeah, I think we should sue USCIS in the Southern District of Texas and say, this decision is bullshit. It's been approved 7 times before. The State Department's approved it. This is just dirty pool and them trying to screw this guy and see what happens.
4 times, sir. They denied 4 times.
4 times.
Sorry, they approved 4
times.
Yeah. So I have got like one more question. I'll get the notice because my I-94 is valid until like September 6th. I do have the biggest problem I do have is currently my wife is pregnant. As of September 6th, she is like a 32 weeks pregnant lady. I don't want to do any wrong things. Yeah. Can I apply for a B2 visa for her, or if B2 visa gets denied, that would put under like overstay?
No, I don't have a problem with. I think that's okay.
If it gets denied, sir, because like if the B2 visa gets denied, that would be overstay, right?
That would be, yeah, but I think if I were you, I would do both. I would sue them and I would file to change her status to B2 since she's pregnant and can't travel. I think that's okay, and I wouldn't worry about that. That's what you should do.
Okay. So, okay. In case like if it gets denied, will I be like put into problem in future?
Well, you're going to have problems anyway, because right now your H-1B, when does your I-94 goes when? Until October?
Until September 6th, sir.
Oh, September 6th. Okay.
I don't want to get into that like dirty waters. Like if the H-1B gets like denied.
Well, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do on September 6th?
Actually, like I'm planning to leave. Right now I'm thinking whether initially, when this NOID has come up, like even I sent the affidavit.
Oh, they sent a NOID first?
Yeah, they sent a NOID. I provided all these details, like my wife is pregnant, all these things. I'm getting penalized. Everything, I gave everything, like, yeah, they denied it. But right now, already like USCIS knows that like my wife is pregnant. But right now, if I go for a B2 visa, if it gets denied, overstay complications in future if it comes. So that's well,
here's what I would say. Here's what I would do. would sue them this week
Okay.
to try to get them to reverse it before September 6th. I would also file for extensions or to change the status to B1, B2 for both of you. And then we're going to know if the lawsuit works within 90 days. So the filing of the B1, B2 would cover you for that month. And as long as you leave, as long as you leave within 6 months, it's not going to cause you any trouble, even if the extension gets denied, because you'll have less than 6 months of unlawful presence, which I don't even think you should have. But that if that's what you're worried about, I think that's not a big problem.
Okay, so basically, I'll not have a job. That's the problem. I mean,
Yeah.
after September 6th, I don't want to be in the States.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Should I go ahead and do the ones, B1 and B2, what you are advising?
No, yeah, that's fine. But I think the bigger thing is to sue them, to try to get them to reverse it.
Okay, sir. Okay, I'll contact your office, sir.
Okay.
But
Thanks,
one last thing, sir. I don't have the denial notice as of now. Cognizant is, they are waiting on that, but still, can we sue?
Yeah, we can get ready. We can get it ready, and then we can just look over we can. I mean, I'd want to see it before I sued him, but I would assume if it was denied on Monday, it'll probably come today.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thanks, sir.
All right, thanks, Naidu. Sorry you're going through that.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right. That's how they do it. This poor guy has been waiting for his visa number to become current. They string you along for years and years. They approve your H-1B over and over. And now these assholes that the Trump team installed at USCIS. Now, Joe Biden will tell you, and fucking Alejandro Mayorkas will tell you, oh, we're kinder, gentler now. We had that immigration officer call me out in the comments saying, oh, we're getting pressured to approve everything that comes our way. That's bullshit. They're still doing stupid stuff like this. So just so you guys know, the people who are watching, just so you know, this fellow had a little problem at the start of his H-1B back in 2012 or 14. He's left and come back, which cleared that all up. And now they're saying that somehow he misled them, even though they have it in their records as to what his history is. All they have to do is look at their own files, and they're accusing him of fraud. It's total BS. He should sue them. Might not work, but he's getting ready to go back home once the baby's born anyway. So in my mind, file the lawsuit, make them look at it and say in court what assholes they are and how ridiculous they are. Biden's people are just as bad as Trump's when it comes. These people at the higher up levels, they're not doing anything to fix this. They need to get that crap out of the process that tells them to go back 10 years and look for fraud. They said that's what they're doing. But as Naidu can tell you, they're full of crap. They're doing the same old stuff. It's 2 years now. Biden, asshole. It's ridiculous. They act like they're nice. Well, we're not Trump. So kiss our ass. It's bullshit. Sorry to be cussing left and right. Hopefully there aren't any little kids watching. But this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Everybody says, oh, things are better now in immigration because of Biden. Oh, you should be damn lucky that Trump didn't win. And you know what? We are lucky that Trump didn't win. That gets you a pass for so long. That gets you 6 months. Now what are you doing? Except asking Congress for more money because you can't run your goddamn agency? I feel for Naidu. Pisses me off. It's ridiculous. The way that they treat people. This guy, all he wants to do, you heard him. You could hear it in his voice. All he wants to do is follow the rules. He's considering putting his wife on a plane at 32 weeks because these clowns can't get their act together and see that it was their mistake, not his. It's terrible. Terrible. I see our friend Mo's here. Hello, Mo.
Hey, how you doing, Jim?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I got a couple of questions.
Okay.
Does financial aid for a green card holder to go to take some classes and stuff? I want to get another master's degree. Does that count towards the public charge rule or anything like that?
No.
Can you do a video about that? What counts and what doesn't count? I think that would be a good idea because people have
About
a lot.
public charge?
Yeah, but what would qualify as public charge? I think.
Yeah, we could do that. That's a good idea. It's not one of my usual video specials I could do off the top of my head, but that's something we could do a little bit of work on and do some graphics. Yeah, that would be good. We can do that.
All right, I got another couple of questions. So it has to do with one of those hypotheticals
Sure.
for people that come on an ESTA. Can the spouse of a green card holder adjust after coming in on an ESTA after 90 days, 60 days, or whatever?
Well,
Or
remember,
is that,
Mo,
or is that
Mo,
only for American citizens?
yeah, so you're talking about if the petitioner is a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, that distinction?
Yeah, right. If the petitioner, in this case, it's for a friend of mine, has a green card,
Right.
his spouse wants to come over, or they've already submitted the I-130,
Right.
but she's going to come and visit. But if she, in one of those visits, she decides to stay, because she adjusts based on the fact that he's only a green card holder.
That would be problematic. Now, there are probably lawyers out there who would file that case. I would not file that case. I would not feel comfortable filing that case. I might file it if the person had an actual visa, but if they're coming on ESTA, there's so much discretion there. People that come on ESTA have waived the rights to see an immigration judge, and I could see it going sideways. I do feel comfortable doing that when then the petitioner is a U.S. citizen, but
But there's no restriction on the fact that the person is a green card holder.
No, listen, what I'm saying is that.
No, I know what you're saying, but what I'm asking is, there's no specific rule that says a green card holder, for somebody that comes in, even with this visa on their passport, they can't adjust because the person is only a green card holder.
That's true.
That's what I'm asking. That's what I was asking. Okay.
But
for an ESTA, it's specific. It's a special case, you're saying, and I get that.
I'd be very nervous. Yeah.
Right. But there's no specific rule for the green card. That's what I was asking. Okay, cool. And the last thing I have is,
wait, Mo, real quick. Can I clarify what I want to say on that? Can I clarify it? Because here's how I think about it. Because I've been to interviews where the petitioner is a green card holder and not a U.S. citizen, and here's the deal. When a foreign national is married to a U.S. citizen and they apply, they don't have to be in status at the time that they apply, and they don't even have to be in status at the time of the interview, right? But for the spouse of a green card holder, you definitely have to be in status at the time of filing. And I believe you still have to be in status at the time of the interview.
Oh, okay.
So
you wouldn't have enough time to.
Some lawyers feel comfortable filing even knowing that the person won't still be in status at the time of the interview. I don't like that. It makes me nervous, and I encourage people not to do it. That's what I wanted to say.
I get it. That makes sense. Okay. And the last thing I have is just a comment about the conversation or the videos you had about, or the session you had about people getting advice or an advice to new immigrants.
Oh, yeah.
I think that people should learn about how the medical system works here and how insurance works before they come over, so that they can take care of certain things before they come over, because it's so expensive and complicated. And the other thing is about learning about credit before they come, because it's going to be a big factor in their lives here. And I think it's important to learn about it before you come over.
Those are both great points. July 1st, our insurance within United Healthcare changed, and now we go to Walgreens instead of CVS. And my son's medicine went from $30 a month to $300 a month, and now my wife is sort of fighting it out with them. Yeah, it's almost worse than dealing with immigration. But you're right. You really need to at least have someone who can help advocate for you. But yeah, I mean, Mo, you watch the show all the time, and we have a lot of people who talk about going back home to get medical treatment.
I had to do that a couple of months ago because I had issues with my insurance here, and I went home to Chile, and an MRI cost me literally $50
Yeah.
Which
Right.
here it was like 4,500.
Right.
And a couple other things. Blood tests, they charged me $11,000 here. I had it done for about $100 down there, and it's the same modern hospital, new machines, and it's hard to believe sometimes that it's like why are they charging like 27 times? I think it was the number when I did the math. It's like
well, that's great advice. Thanks, Mo.
All right, thank you, Jim. Take care.
Bye, buddy. All right, now I did see that some smart aleck posted Trump for 2024. Trump for 2024. You, sir, Abhijit Kale, have now been banned from this platform. You have been banned from this platform. I'm not going to lose my temper, but that's BS. Don't be bringing Trump 2024 shit in here. Go somewhere else. Go to a Klan meeting. Go to a MAGA rally. Go to a pro-life, anti-abortion protest. Take that shit somewhere else because we're not playing that game here. All right, Mahmoud, cheer me up. I'm in a bad mood, Mahmoud. Make me happy. Tell me something.
Well, I mean,
tell me something happy.
Living in Trump Towers, would you ban people living in Trump Towers?
I got in big trouble because I went by Trump Tower in Chicago and I took a picture giving it the bird, and all my friends said, that's not very classy, Jim. But anyway, go ahead. Mahmoud, how are you? What can I help you with?
I'm all right. You probably remember me from the last time we talked. So long story short, I don't want to take long from your time. So I applied for the USCIS, like for the I-130, followed by the I-129 for my wife, Ukrainian wife, and my Ukrainian stepson. Got approved, got through the whole process. The embassy in Ankara in Turkey accepted expedited interview. So they interviewed them. The whole process took approximately six and a half months.
Yeah.
Once we went there, you remember that it's been like they put her on the 535, whatever you call it, and it's on AP. Now, since they gave the option to get Ukrainians here on Uniting for Ukraine, I applied for my wife and my stepson. They got approved, and they entered the country. No questions asked. Amazing, How it works, I don't know. Anyways,
magic.
Yeah. Now their case is still pending in Ankara in Turkey. So the question is, can I modify? Can I modify their status while they are here? Which forms should I file, and when should I file? And if there is need for a lawyer in this case.
When did they enter?
They entered last week on Monday, so I guess it was the 4th or 5th.
And what visa did they enter on? What is it? What kind of visa?
It's a parole, like on parole. Humanitarian parole. They're considered as parolees now. Yep.
Right. So I'd want to look at everything. I don't want to tell you off the top of my head. The answer is you're going to file for a 485 and everything else for them, for a work card, travel card, all that stuff. The one thing I'd want to check is whether or not you need to wait 60 days or not, because they were paroled in. Generally, I think it'd be okay, but I'd want to make sure. Generally, you want to wait 60 days to apply for a green card after entry, but humanitarian stuff might be different. I suspect that it is, so you could just go ahead and file it, but I'd want to check first.
Okay, so I could file for the I-485. I have to check whether 60 days or not. Mm-hmm. That would be it, pretty much. And the case in the embassy there, just leave it, let it go. Mm-hmm. Abandon it, right?
Yeah, you'll want to include the I-130 approval notices with the filings of the 485s. But yeah.
Okay, that's it, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Okay, I mean, if that's the case, but I think I've read somewhere that I have to wait a year or some. I've read something like a year or so, something like that. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait a year before you file for the 485.
Well, like I said, I don't think you should do this by yourself. I'd want to look everything over. I don't feel comfortable giving you too much advice because I'd want to see everything and do research and all this stuff.
Okay.
But I don't know generally of a 1 year rule. I think that generally they have to do something within a year. When you come, and I think for most people that's apply for asylum. But the fact that they can apply for a green card based on marriage, that's obviously
already has the I-130 approved and everything.
Yep.
We have them both. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Cool.
All
Thanks, Mahmood. See you,
All right,
buddy.
thanks, Jim. Thank you so
Yep.
much. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. All right. Let's say hi to Gino. Hi, Gino.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been enjoying the show. You're a breath of fresh air for one.
Thanks.
A friend of mine, Larry Mooney, recommended I get a hold of you. And
Larry's the best.
yeah,
Yes.
he's awesome. So my partner and I, Talal, he's in Saudi Arabia. He was here for school. That's when we met, and we started our relationship. And then when he completed his degree, he had to go back. And then I sought counsel to find out. We were going to try to get married beforehand, but we didn't want to get him in trouble, because it's being gay is punishable by death in his country. And
Sure.
and he was here on the king's dime. His country sent him here for school.
On an F1 or a J1?
Oh, I'd have to look in our application. I forget. What's the difference between the two?
So the J1 can require when you said on the king's dime, usually to me that suggests that he was in a program that the government was paying for, and that he was on
Yes.
a J1, and that he probably had a requirement that he go back home for 2 years. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, possibly. Yes, that does. And also, so he went home, and then we were going to try to get married before he left, and we decided not to because we didn't want to get him in trouble. So anyways, we got counsel after we went back to get things rolling. We completed our application.
A fiance case?
Yes, I-129F, and that was done in April of 21. And then they had it for 432 days or something, and then we got a response back in June 7th, about a month ago, a request for evidence, and the request for evidence was from an arrest I had 28 years ago in Phoenix, Arizona, driving under the influence.
That was it?
That was it. And they just wanted to have the disposition of that. I went to court and it was thrown out because they didn't have paperwork or whatever. So that was it. That's all my recollection was. It's never even been on. I'm a therapist. I have a license and I've done my background checks and everything. It's never even been on any. It never showed up in anything. But when I did the application, it did come up on a driving record, I guess, from Missouri. They finally, I don't know. So Arizona is a closed record state.
Yeah.
And so what I had to do is I went to Clayton, got my fingerprints taken. I sent for a review of records to the FBI in Arizona. They came back with basically the same information I already had, was an arrest date and everything, but the state of Arizona doesn't provide, they just need something about the disposition, or even my attorney has provided me more opportunity for prayer than anything. And
wait, what does that mean?
He's a fucking asshole. Well, first of all, 2 months into the process, he sends me a thing saying, "Hey, the producers of a 90-Day Fiance are, would you be interested in contacting them?" And I'm like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" No, no. So I sent a letter just saying I didn't even know what the show was. And then I looked it up and I'm like, God.
No.
And so I sent him a thing, and I don't know if this is where it set him off or something, because he's treated me like an asshole ever since. But the other day with this, I'm trying anyway to get a letter from Arizona. I have a friend who's a prosecuting attorney in the state of Arizona. He couldn't even find any records of me with his access to stuff. My attorney says, well, what you do is you walk into the courtroom where you went, and I said, I don't know where the court. He goes, well, you were there. I said 30 fucking years ago, and I was drunk. Like what, and so I'm not feeling overly confident with my representation. He's like whatever. That's a whole different thing. But
we're on camera. We're on camera, but I bet $10. I'm not going to do it. I bet $10 I can guess who it is. But anyway, we'll keep going.
Yeah, it would be there's another name for Dick.
Got it. Yep.
But so a couple things. I can't stand this fucking conservative asshole that I somehow, when I went into him, I interviewed him to see if he was like gay friendly or not. I'm thinking he's not, which is, and I don't want him to, I'm not looking for a date. I just want somebody to represent me properly. And
did you see him before Talal went back to Saudi Arabia or after?
Once before, and then he said you can't do anything until he goes back, and then I went back after.
Because I suspect I would have handled this case a whole lot differently.
Well, I wish believe me, just watching for 30 minutes here, I can tell you, you've spoken more eloquently and intelligently than I've ever had a conversation with Mr. Cox.
As I cuss up a storm, but yeah.
Oh no, believe me, that doesn't scare me any, but because the content.
When's the RFE due?
How many days do they give the?
Probably 90.
I think 90 days, and it's been 30. So he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, well, that's not an answer. I'm like, so I'm just like, fuck, like, I mean, it's been hard enough. We've been waiting 2.5 years anyways. And, his original advice to us was to get married outside of the country. That's what he told us. So our plan was to get married in Copenhagen, in Denmark, and then COVID happened. So COVID happened, and then, the rest is history with that.
Gino, it sounds to me like this case might need a fresh set of eyes and maybe some new approaches. Do you want to?
I agree 100%.
Yeah. Do you want to send me an email? That's
how do I send it to you? Like
it's right there, info@hackinglawpractice.com, and just say I was on with Jim today, and then they'll forward it on to me, and I'll just say Jim told me to email and that he would follow up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's it. When Larry and I were talking, he said maybe a fresh set of eyes, and he said you would be the eyes that he would recommend. Which I'm kicking myself for not going to him beforehand. I don't know. But
here's the thing. My favorite saying is the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The next best time is today. So
yeah. Well, I'm going to send you, Jim. I'm going to send you that thing. This has been. Hey, can my partner pick this up in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, this will be on YouTube tomorrow or tonight. So just tell them to watch, and Talal can watch the whole show, or they can just fast forward. You're at about the 30-minute mark.
Okay. I will tell him, because he hated this attorney from the get-go. When he ever sent the thing to go on to 90 Day Fiance, Paul was like, what the fuck is wrong with this person?
So I'll just tell you a real quick story on that. So 90 Day Fiance actually reached out to me once. Actually, no, I'm sorry. 90 Day Fiance did reach out to me, but one time, like a 90 Day Fiance star, if you call them that, called me up, and she'd been on the show for like 3 years, and she had laid out all her dirty laundry and said every stupid thing you'd ever say on camera. And I said to her, hey lady, I'll be your lawyer, but you have to get off that show tomorrow. And she said no. And so then I knew that she just cared more about being on the show than she did about no self-respecting lawyer would let their client go on 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, no, he sent me the thing, and if you don't mind, I'll read you the response to that email, because which I never received a response back. But Mr.
Blank,
we'll say Dick, I was not familiar with the show prior to your email. After looking into it, I found the show to be distasteful and offensive and would never want to be associated with this type of reality show. Moreover, I find it disrespectful that our representative would even pass this type of information along to their clients.
Oh,
That was of May of 21. I got crickets and tumbleweed.
yeah. All right, Gino. We'll get working on this. Thanks, brother. Thanks for
Hey,
coming
thank you so
on.
much. Thanks.
Yep,
I
we'll
look
see
forward
ya.
to talking to you more.
Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Oh, well, one thing I'm very proud of is that we have a long history of same-sex marriage cases at this firm. We've probably handled 50 so far. We handled the very first one filed at USCIS in the Eastern District of Missouri. I know that because I'd already met with the couple and they were excited thinking that Obergefell was going to strike down the Defense of Marriage Act. And we had that bad boy out the door in a week. So I can't imagine that anybody got it faster than I did. So we love our same-sex couples. We have a lot of fun working on those cases, and we'd be happy to help Gino sort out his problems. And it sounds like one of those problems might be his attorney. All right, let's say hi to Saida. Hi, Saida.
Hello, Jim. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jim. Actually, I'm just a little worried about my husband's case. So basically, I petitioned my husband on August 2018. Then
August,
after,
August 20 of 18, you said?
yes, 2018,
And
okay,
is
2000.
he overseas?
Yes, he's overseas. He lives in Pakistan.
And you're a US citizen living in the United States?
Yes, I filed his petition in behalf of the green, and after.
Oh, did we lose Saida? Sorry about
Yes,
that. We
yes.
lost you. We lost you there for a second. So you filed the I-130 in 2018. When did USCIS
Yes.
approve it?
The USCIS approved in December 2019.
And then
Yeah, so at
has
that
he had it?
time I was,
Go ahead. You go ahead. I'm going to be quiet. You go ahead.
yeah, so in December 2019, so he approved, the USCIS approved his case. Then after, my husband, his document qualified date is from NVC is on May 2020.
So 2
Yes.
years ago.
So yes, 2 years ago. So basically, now in April, I got citizenship, and now I am now our case upgraded in IR1. So my husband, his case, his interview had on 6th of July, like the last week. So in Islamabad embassy, Pakistan Islamabad embassy. So
Sure.
basically, Jim, the CEO asked so many questions like, "How long have you been married?" My husband said we married in like around almost 4 years. Our wedding anniversary is coming on 14 July. Then after he said, "Do you have kids now?" My husband says, "Yes, I have two daughters, and I really miss them a lot." Then after he said, show me their birth certificate." So my husband gave their birth certificate, and he said, "Your marriage seems good look and accurate." So he asked after that, "Did you ever travel United States?" He said, "Yes, I traveled United States." Then after he returned back his passport, and he told to him that we will send you some questionnaires in few weeks, and you don't have to come back again to embassy. Then after that, if the passport, you have to courier the passport, and he gave the 221G form. There it shows the administrative processing tick and the passport courier tick. So that's the thing. Like I'm worried. Yeah, his case is right now the CEAC status was refused,
So
and we
do they have
still
his do
receive
they
NGO.
do they have his passport, or does your husband have his passport?
My husband, he returned back the passport, so my husband has the passport right now.
Okay. Okay, great. So what's the question? I'm sorry you're going through this.
Actually, you know what the goal is? Our goal is to get approved the visa, and because we have two daughters, and the first daughter, she was born in March 2020, and she is like 2 years, and the other one is 9 months, and we
So
married from. In,
t- tell me about the questions that they asked him at the interview.
Sorry, Jim, I'm not getting.
You said the CO asked him a lot of questions at the interview. What were some of the questions that he asked besides the travel?
Just, just these questions. Yeah. He just asked like, do you ever visit US? So my husband said, yeah, I visited US. He visited US in 2001 and 2005 in visit visa.
What kind of a visa did he have? Visit visa?
Yeah, visit visa.
And has your husband ever been married before?
No.
And that's unusual that they would ask about his prior trips to the United States. Why did he come back in 2001 and 2005?
Actually, he came with his father.
Hmm.
So the one, yeah, he came
So
with his father, and yeah,
how old was your husband in 2001?
he is under 18.
Okay, so he's a kid when he came.
Yeah.
I think you should sue them. I think that that you've waited long enough. The State Department has had your husband's case for 2.5 years. They might fight back and file a motion to dismiss, but I think that if I were you, I'd give them like 60 days. If you don't have a decision, say by September 5th or 6th, I'd sue them in September, because otherwise you're just going to keep waiting.
Okay, all right. But Jim, the thing is, they still didn't send any question or email yet.
That's just BS. That's just them doing their delay thing. Did the officer know at the interview that you were a U.S. citizen?
I think he knows because I already uploaded the citizenship certificate for upgrade the case.
Okay, but did he mention that
And
at
my
all to your?
daughter
Did he mention that at all to your husband?
uh, I don't know. I don't know. Is like you talking about that when talking about Indian. I don't know this thing.
That's okay. Okay. Well, I'm
Yes.
sorry that you're going through this. Did you have any other questions for me?
No, and the Jim, the other thing is that actually he has some travel history also. He traveled to UK like 3 to 4 times for the visit visa. Then after in 2015 and 2016, the other thing is that he went to Iraq for the religious pilgrimage for 10 days. Then after in 2017, he also went to Syria and Iraq for the religious pilgrimage. So he went Syria for 5 days and he went Iraq for 10 days for religious pilgrimage.
And did they ask him about that at the interview?
No.
So he was like visiting Shia holy sites and stuff. It was all for religious stuff.
Yeah, just religious stuff for like 10 days or 5 days just for Syria. Then after he didn't go.
So that could be why they're sitting on there, and that might be the questionnaire that they want to send them is like, tell us about all your trips. But right now they're just sitting on it. So they're just slow. They see a Shia Muslim guy from Pakistan. They're just slowing down his case. I think you're going to keep on waiting. Hopefully you won't. But if you don't have a decision by the fall, I would sue them.
Okay, so Jim, let's say if they didn't send me any questionnaire because he said we will questions in few weeks. I still received any questions yet,
Yeah.
not yet.
Yes.
So what I have to do next step?
Just gotta wait.
Or
I mean, we could sue them now. You've waited long enough. They've had the case for 2.5 years. You could sue them today. If you're not going to sue them, then you just have to keep waiting.
okay, I know actually I'm interested with you to go with you, like follow up. So what can I do? And for
Yeah,
the
just send an email to
and
that.
all the things.
Send an email to that email address, info@hackinglawpractice.com, and say I was on the show with Jim and I want to sue Islamabad Embassy.
Okay. So then after that, Jim, so I have to make an appointment with you before, right?
Yeah, we'll just talk on the phone or on video. Sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I
Thanks,
really
Aida. Nice
appreciate
to
you.
meet you.
So basically, Jim, like quick question is that we will start. I mean, in August. I mean, or just September. We start the lawsuit.
We can start today if you want. You've waited 2.5 years. You've waited plenty.
Yeah, actually, my documents qualified is from like May 2020.
Yeah, but the State Department's had it even longer than that. So if you got DQ'd in May 2020, You're talking that USCIS approved it when, in 19?
Yes, 2019, December 2019.
So it's almost 3 years. It's ridiculous. Bunch of clowns.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Thanks, Aida. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so also, okay, I will send you the email, and I really appreciate you, Jim. Thank you so
Have a
much.
great day. You got it. So you see, they make it hard to bring gay men from Saudi Arabia. They make it hard to bring Shia men from Pakistan. They're just equal opportunity haters over there at the State Department. They're just doing whatever they can to keep from doing their job, because that's what they do. Now, remember, if you want to come on the show, you got to go to the waiting room, and I need you to be on camera so that I know that you're there. I'm going to go ahead and talk to Tressar. Hi, Tressar.
Hey, Jim. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. Good. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me on. So I came on just to want to ask you a couple of questions, Jim. So my girlfriend, soon to be fiance, lives in Spain. We met while I was living in Spain for 3 years. And now I'm back in the US working and all that. And the last time that I got to see her was in April when I visited. And before that, she was in the US from November until February, and she left. After leaving, they rejected her ETA. We have no idea why that was rejected. We have no clue still trying to figure that out. And then now we're looking to, or something that we've been researching for a while is obviously the avenue of marriage. I'm going to Spain in next month, and we'll be proposing. So I'm not going to show her this show because now she'll know that it's coming up.
Don't be watching.
Yeah, she'll be watching after. So I'm trying to figure out what the best avenue for us would be. Would it be to go the IR1 route or K3 route of getting married there and trying to do a visa year, or would it be best to go to K1 route? Not exactly. I actually spoke to Romel today. He's the one that told me to come on the show. So
yeah. So when are you going to Spain?
August 1st.
So in like 3 weeks.
Correct. Yeah.
And will you get married on this trip or just engaged?
Get engaged, but if I was trying to figure out what's the best way, because if you need to get married, I can do that as well while we're there.
So
he's taking to Portugal to get engaged, and
so let's get in our time machine and go back to 2015. Okay.
Okay.
2015, you asked me this exact same question. I would say, no reason to get married. Go ahead and do the fiance route. No problem. We love K1s. They're about 2 months faster. They're great. Just do the K1. Pandemic plus Trump to now. I hate K1s. They frustrate me, and the embassies treat K1 applicants at the bottom. They put them at the bottom of the list in priority.
Okay.
They even put them after like F1 students. Like it's like they're the lowest of priority. And we've even had so there's this thing that happens on a K1 because things take so long. So I think that a K1 visa, when approved by USCIS, is good for 120 days. I think that's the number. It might be 6 months, but I think it's 120 days.
Okay.
Routinely, every single time, the State Department would always unilaterally extend that because they're taking so damn long to process the K1 after USCIS approves it.
Okay.
During Trump and during COVID, they started picking cases that they didn't necessarily like and arbitrarily started saying, we're not going to give that extension anymore. This case is dead on the vine. Sorry about that. I know they can't do that with a spouse case. And I know that they have done it with a fiance case. Not the majority of fiance cases. Doesn't happen all the time. Probably wouldn't happen to yours. But wouldn't it be a kick in the nuts if you get a year into it and then all of a sudden they say, yeah, we don't feel like extending this particular case. You got to get married and start over. So all things being equal, today in July of 2022, if someone's asking me,
okay,
they're not, the fiance cases aren't even going faster than spouse cases anymore. So my preference from an immigration standpoint, because you're on more solid ground, is to do the marriage case.
Okay. So if I go to Spain, get married, while I'm there this in a couple of weeks here, go ahead and get the marriage done over with, I can proceed with filing paperwork for bringing her over
when you get back.
when I get
Mhm.
back. Okay. And what would I be filing? Would that be a K3, IR1, CR1?
Forget the K3. It's just it's an I-130.
Okay.
It's just a standalone I-130, I-130A. You send that off to USCIS. You pay the $535.
Okay.
Then that does its whole process. That takes about 8 or 9 months. Then you go to the National Visa Center and you sort of start all over with the State Department. You file the DS-260. You pay some more fees, and then eventually it gets sent to the embassy in Madrid.
Okay. Awesome. All right. And in that case, can we also appeal her ETSA so she can visit as well during that?
Don't hold your breath on that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially if the I-130's been approved. So tell me how that happened. So she was here on an F1, then she went back, and then she applied for ESTA, and they said no.
She already had an ESTA when she
They
was.
revoked it.
She just came on an ESTA. She's always come to the U.S. on an ETSA before, and then this is the first time they just revoked it. But she got an email saying that it was revoked, and she needed to file a visitor's visa in order to come into the country.
How many times had she come on ESTA?
She's been to the U.S. 3 different times, years apart. The last time before she came to see me was 4 years prior.
Okay, so when you said you were in school together, that was you in Spain, not her here.
Yeah. No, I was working in Spain. I lived in Spain, working there for 3 years, and that's where I met her. And then she was able to come visit me once I got home. I got back home in August of last year, and she was here in November and spent 3 months with me. We're trying to figure out. We have no clue why it's revoked. We know that when she got to the embassy,
did she say anything about you or a boyfriend when she came through customs?
She did, yes.
Yeah, that's why.
That's why. Okay.
Mhm.
We were trying to figure out if that's the issue because of me being her boyfriend and her coming to visit me.
And they think she's just going to jump the line and file for a green card, and they're just being dicks.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, so no, to just go the I-30 route. There's probably don't hold breath on getting her ETSA fixed.
Correct.
Can we file a visitor's visa while we wait for that, or it's just going to be outside the country from here on out?
No, you can apply for that too, but it's not going to get approved.
It's not going to get approved. Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right. Okay. So
Thanks, good luck. Have a safe trip. Have fun. Let us know how it goes.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
Bye, buddy. All right. Last caller of the day will be VJ. What do you say, VJ?
Hey Jim, this is VJ. I was here to add a couple of points for Naidu. I don't want you to get fired up again, but I want to I want to give you the reasoning why he got denial and why he got the revoke notice.
Okay.
So what they say is when you originally go through the lottery and you get your H-1B,
yeah,
and eventually, it doesn't matter whether they approve extensions for 5 times, 10 times, or 20 times, until you get a green card, you are on the hook. If they ever find out the original H-1B which you got through the lottery is because of fraud or misrepresentation, they revoke it, which sort of puts you out of H-1B forever because you were never counted in the H-1B number. That's why he got his denial now for cognizant.
Maybe.
But you know what the reason I came online is your argument about look, you guys gave him 3 times visa back in the Department of State back in India, or 3 extensions here in the USCIS. None of that count if your original H-1B itself is revoked.
Well, we'll see. We'll just say, I don't want to get all fired up again, especially since it's the end of the show. We'll see. But my point was that if there was a problem, they should have found it a long time ago. And that I'm mad that there's people whose job it is now to, instead of process cases, that they go back to look at stuff from 12 years ago. That's what bothers me. That's what they're using my tax dollars for. That's what they're using their I-129 filing fees for. When instead they could be working on cases like Gino's spouse and Gino and Saida's partners, and brought them here. Instead, they're wasting their time doing this silly stuff.
Yeah.
And But you're right though. If the original H-1B was granted through fraud, now we don't know that for sure.
We
But
don't
if that's true, you're right. There was never a valid H-1B. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah. So that's it.
Thanks, VJ.
Thanks.
Bye, buddy. All right. That'll do it for today's show. I'm going to see if ask Huli if I got too worked up. Huli, did I get too worked up? I don't know.
Kind of.
That was fun. It made me feel better.
I'm not muted. Yesterday, you guys missed me. I need to mute a lot of.
I definitely missed you yesterday for sure. It's hard to run the whole thing, especially at home. But yeah, thanks as always for your help. We'll be back tomorrow at 4:00, right?
Yes.
All right. Until then, everybody have a great night. Thanks for your help, Huli. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Welcome. Bye. See you tomorrow.